Welcome back to Introduction to Sociology, where we'll use the sociological imagination to explore how technology and data have transformed the way society understands violence. Hey there, I'm Dr. Stephanie Medley-Rath. I've been teaching sociology for over 20 years. I'm the author of Introduction to Sociology, and I run the Sociology Coach to help people like you make sense of the world. Let's dive in. In the last episode, we learned about the sociological imagination. If you need a refresher, go back to episode 1.1 and watch that first. In this episode, we are going to talk about lynchings and police violence, which may be upsetting to some viewers. Recall that the sociological imagination helps us connect personal experiences to larger social forces. Is violence a personal trouble or a public issue? Have you ever wondered what causes violence? Is violence just perpetuated by a few bad apples? Did the individual who was the target of violence do something wrong or were a threat to themselves or others? Or is there something more broadly social about violence? Are some groups of people more likely to cause violence and be victims of violence? In this episode, we are going to explore how people have used data and technology to demonstrate that violence is a public issue rather than only a personal trouble. Let me tell you about Ida B. Wells-Barnett, who lived from 1862 to 1931. She was born enslaved, but grew up to become a journalist, sociologist, and civil rights leader. She was concerned about lynchings. In typical lynchings, mobs of white people killed one or more black people for alleged wrongdoings. These wrongdoings ranged from talking back to a white person to allegations of sexual assault. Their government rarely intervened or punished the people doing the lynching. At the time, many saw lynchings as isolated incidents or the result of personal troubles. They believed that the person who was killed really had done something wrong and was deserving of their punishment. From Reconstruction through the Civil Rights era, over 4,700 people were lynched. Throughout the United States, about 73% of the victims were black. In the South, nearly 86% of the victims were black. However, Wells-Barnett believed they were a public issue. She collected statistics or data published in white newspaper reports on lynchings to calculate how often they occurred and the reasons for them. She published her findings in pamphlets like Southern Horrors and A Red Record. Her work showed that lynchings were far more common than most people realized. By using technology and the media, she changed public opinion and prompted the federal government to investigate, leading to a decline in lynchings. If you want to take this lesson further, visit my website. I've got study guides and resources waiting for you there. Check for that link in the description. Today, there are even more forms of technology and ways to share information. So let's pause and think. How has technology like cameras, cell phones, and social media helped turn active violence from private troubles into public issues? Consider how these tools allow us to document, share, and discuss events that might otherwise go unnoticed. For example, technology has played a crucial role in exposing police violence. In 2020, a store clerk in Minneapolis suspected George Floyd, a black customer, of using a counterfeit $20 bill and called the police. It is unknown whether Floyd used counterfeit money or not. He was sitting in a vehicle in front of the business when the police arrived. Within minutes, the situation escalated. A white officer, Derek Chauvin, placed his knee on Floyd's neck. He kept it there for 9 minutes and 30 seconds, which killed Floyd. Darnella Frazier, 17 at the time, recorded the deadly interaction. She uploaded the cell phone video to Facebook. The video was strong evidence that the police overreacted to the situation. The video evidence sparked global protests and a conversation about police brutality. This shows how technology can change people's minds. Recent research confirms that media coverage of police violence influences people's opinions on the topic. The video helped many begin to understand police violence as a public issue that demands attention rather than a personal trouble. Let's look at the data. According to the Washington Post, since 2015, there have been over 10,000 people fatally shot by police in the United States. The data shows that Black and Hispanic people are killed by police at higher rates than white people. For context, 13.7% of the United States population is Black. 20% is Hispanic, and 57.5% are white, non-Hispanic. In other words, Black people are very disproportionately likely to be killed by police compared to white people. Hispanic people are killed at close to the same rate as white people, even though white people are about 3 times their size in the population. Technology, like cell phones, doorbell cameras, and police body cams, provide visual proof, while statistical data from journalists delivers additional evidence. Together, these tools show that police violence is not just a personal trouble, but a public issue that affects society as a whole, including police officers. The effects of increasing awareness and changing opinions on things like police violence may be short-lived. In the immediate aftermath of George Floyd's death, President Donald Trump signed an executive order on police reforms in June of 2020. However, legislation failed to move forward at the federal level. Across the United States, state legislatures have proposed and passed laws to both reform policing by making police more accountable and also policies that offer police more protection if they engage in deadly violence while doing their job. Even when the data demonstrates that something like police violence is a public issue, there is still disagreement on how to handle it. However, some will never be fully convinced there is a problem. Thank you for joining me as we use the sociological imagination to understand how police violence can be understood as a public issue. Remember, what seems like a personal trouble may actually be a public issue, and understanding this can help us create real change. What's one thing you know now that you didn't know before? Share in the comments. And of course, if you found this episode helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode.